Hey everyone, for today on the Central Podcast, we'll be talking about the easiest ways to boost profit margins in the home improvement industry. I'd like to thank Travis from Roofle for being here, give us more insight and experience on this. So we'll just start right off. Travis, to start off, could you introduce yourself, tell us a little bit more about you and your career and where you're at?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, quite. Thanks for having me on. Happy to be here. And I'm Travis, CEO and co-founder of Roofle Technologies. And prior to taking this venture into the software space, I was actually a contractor for 12 years, or what I like to refer to myself as a recovering contractor. For those that are in the construction space and understand that terminology. But for 12 years, I did that. And while I was a contractor, we were always figuring out ways how to be more innovative, how to get ahead of the competition, how to get better profit margins, how to reach out to our customers. And so I did that for that long period of time, and then came up with the solution that we call Roofle Technologies. Our Roof Quote Pro is the actual software that we sell today. And we started this back in 2020 is when we actually launched it. But when we launched it, we actually launched as a B2C model. So when we took the software to the market, we were actually selling direct to consumers. So we were testing it, A/B testing it, seeing if the consumers actually wanted it, see if they're willing to engage with it. Did they trust technology, with their home improvement project? And we found out, we did that for about 2.5 years. We found out that they were, did about $4.5 million in revenue, just strictly 100% online. All of our business was done over online. We never went to the property until we actually went to install the jobs. And the consumer engaged with it, mostly between 8 and midnight, when consumers are actually available to actually think about doing a project like this. So that was when a lot of our business was generated. And then about 2.5 years ago, we then switched the technology to actually offering this technology to contractors so that they can use it within their business to be able to streamline more of their processes and be able to capture more jobs, sell more jobs, online, to be able to boost up their revenue and also their gross margins. So that's kind of a short, brief history on kind of a little bit about.
Nice. It sounds like you definitely had the experience coming into it, and you've played a pretty big role in building and growing this company. With that being CEO, what have you mainly focused on, and what's were you carrying day to day within the company to grow to this point?
Yeah. Now, when we launched it, obviously it was like 3 employees. When we launched it, it wasn't very many of us. And very few, a number of actual customers. As we grow, I have to stick to, kind of looking at that vision as far as where the next step is, where the next, line of sight where we want to get to. So thinking about those next, innovative releases, what piece of technology we're going to release next that's going to catch the contractor's attention, to want them to come over and start using, our technology, or thinking about ways that, how can this technology further help a contractor's business? So making tweaks and adjustments that way. Also thinking about our infrastructure, because as we grow, we need to continue to bring on more and more employees. And what key employees do we need to bring on as we continue to grow as a business? And we've grown at over 130% growth rate year over year. So that requires, fast growth. So we've went from 3 employees to now over 30 employees in just, about 2 year time frame. So just keeping my eye and, line of sight on not only the next things to come and to continue to, keep the contractor happy, but then also looking at obviously our growth projections as well, and making sure we're making all the right hires, internally as a business.
And you touched quite a bit on that transition from B2C to B2B more. Could you dive more into that technology that you offer and what you're really providing to these companies?
Yeah. So our technology is really the instant quote feature for homeowners to be able to use. And so this feature allows us to offer this software that the contractor would install onto their website. So contractor buys the software, we install it onto their website. It's fully white labeled, so it's got their logos, their text, their colors, their font. So it looks like it's the contractor's technology that's living within the website, which then allows the homeowner or the consumer, to come to the contractor's website and say, hey, yes, I would like to know what my roof is going to cost me instantly, because I'm in the budgeting phases, or I'm just trying to figure out what this is going to cost me. Is this 5,000 or 50,000? So this technology allows the consumer to do so, to be able to use the software, enter in their address, brings up a picture of their house, and then it also displays up to 8 products that contractor offers So whether that be asphalt, metal, tile, whatever, products that they offer, but then it also allows them to get that at real-time pricing. So those products would be offered by that contractor for that pricing. So now the homeowner has a very good understanding as far as what this roof replacement project is actually going to cost. Now the contractor gets a lead out of it. So it's a conversion on their website, because now your homeowner says, yes, I'm interested. And in order to be able to unlock the price, they have to give their information. So contractor gets lead, homeowner gets price, right? Give to get scenario to where everybody's a winner all around. So we've seen contractors convert on a 6 to 8% conversion rate on their website, to where they were at a 1 to 2% before having this technology. So they're getting many more leads, many more opportunities by giving the consumer ultimately really something that they want, which has been able to engage with technology on the website. Now, if the homeowner wants to, they can also continue engaging down the line, to where now they can ask for a signable proposal, or ask for a contract, or ask for things further, where they're engaging with that contractor without that contractor actually being in the home actually physically. So that's one of the main key pieces of the technology. The other, piece that it offers as well is we allow the contractor to use the technology in the field as well. So let's say that I'm a canvasser, project manager, somebody in the field. I can actually use the same technology while I'm at the homeowner's house and do the same type of concept, to where I'm entering in the address, instantly measuring the roof, and then being able to present that homeowner instantly with a signable proposal or a quote instantly at the home. Because we hear it a lot that the homeowners are upset because it takes days, weeks, to be able to get an actual proposal or a quote from a contractor, to where now these contractors using this technology are giving them an actual quote right there on the spot. So the homeowner doesn't have to wait any longer. Homeowner can use it, and then also the contractor can use it as well to be much more efficient.
There was a time where I was actually working quite a bit with roofers and things like that, and one thing that we often saw was, when we give these quotes, that sometimes they might change, or homeowners are never going to want to hear a higher price than they were originally given. So with this software, what have you guys done to ensure quality across the board, and that the software is performing exactly how the companies want?
Yeah, so we allow the contractors to set it up however that they want to. So if they want to put a price range in there and not offer a specific price, they can give a price range that now says this is going to cost you between 20 and 25,000, right? That gives the homeowner a range to where you're not so much dialed into a specific price, but now you're dialed into a specific range that said you can expect to pay between this amount of money. You can also put things in there like, this is included in this price, and these things are not included in the price. So if they say, hey, you have extra layers or decking or chimneys or skylights or things like that that may come up, they can say these things are not included in this cost. So if you do have these items, you can expect to pay an additional cost on top of what you see here. So with being able to allow that flexibility to the contractor, now they're not locked into saying, hey, I have to do it this way. They can set up however that they want to, and they can display whatever that they want to. If they only want to show a finance price, they can do it as well. They can say, hey, starting at payments as low as $350 a month. They can do that as well and not even actually show a price. So by giving the contractor that flexibility, now they're in control, so they feel more comfortable with whatever they're presenting to the homeowner is something that they're going to be able to stand behind.
There you go. Well, it definitely sounds like you have, I mean, everything must be flowing super fluidly with those conversion rates going up so much. I know that as, there's, especially within the roofing industry, with winters and summers, there's different changes within the industry. What kind of trends have you seen within the roofing industry and your interaction with these contractors over the last couple of years?
The interaction has been good. It was a little bit of pushback at the start, of course, because you can think about us coming into this space and saying, "Hey, contractors, we have a new idea for you. You're going to be showing your prices online." And they all said, "You're crazy. We don't show our prices online. We hide our prices, and we don't show them the price until we've sat in the home for 2 to 4 hours and presented to them, and then they say, 'Okay, you've sat through enough presentation. Now here's your price finally,' right?" So you can think that they thought that we were crazy to begin with, but as we've continued to grow, over the past 2.5, 3 years, this just becomes more of the normal. The contractors have really stuck to this idea and said, you know what? Being price transparent is good for the industry as a whole, because contractors are considered to be used car salesmen, and nobody wants to be considered in that category as a used car salesman. So the way that we can now grow and be a better overall industry is to be more transparent with our pricing. So by being able to allow that, they've become much more open, and they've been able to capture more of the millennial crowd. So I don't know if people know this, but millennials actually own over 1/3 of the homes today. So with having them of being over one third of the homes today, they are now a target demographic that we have to think about. And millennials, we know, love technology and hate humans. So now we have to be able to adapt to them to say we're going to allow them to be able to interact with this technology so that now we can capture more of those customers because they actually are homeowners. They're not renters any longer. So by them thinking in those contexts, and we go all over the country speaking about price transparency and studies that have been done over the last 2 years as far as what homeowners' demands are, expectations are, which are flowing right towards what we talk about being price transparency. We want to be able to control scheduling and be able to control these things with my contractor online or virtually. So with all these things that are coming up, the contractors now opening their eyes and saying, okay, we give, right? And we have to give in because eventually they're just going to be our customer. In the next 10 to 20 years, they're going to be the primary source of all of our customers that we have. So we have to be able to adapt to whoever our consumer is. So we've seen these trends obviously early, a lot of pushback, but as we've grown tremendously over the last couple of years, that we've been able to see that shift really change now in the industry to where it's now starting to become more uncommon for contractors to not be offering, something like this on their website.
Yeah, and it seems like, obviously with software, there's advantages with that, with scaling and things. And as you've narrowed in that relationship with other companies, as you've been able to better market that, the benefits of the product, what other things have your company done to try to increase those margins? Because I know that's one thing, with construction and home improvement, they have pretty tight margins sometimes. You're working more on the software side, but how do you stretch that? What has your company done?
Yeah. So when it comes to margin, when we were selling this product and we were selling direct to consumers, we were selling a 36%, margin, right? Which is not just giving jobs away, right? It's a good sized margin, but by being able to offer this convenience, that's where we've seen our contractors even be able to win. And we're telling them, you don't have to be the cheapest price. Just because you offer this doesn't mean you have to be the cheapest price. And so we talk to them a lot about selling their company and selling, really what they offer. So they're presenting things of why their company might cost a little bit more than these other companies is because maybe they offer better, more in-depth inspections, maybe better, longer, warranties, better, longer, products, whatever it may be, so that now you can justify if a customer says, well, this guy's only 14 and this guy over here is 16, now they can understand why this person might be a little bit more is because you're getting actually more bang for your buck. And especially when you can actually show packages that you're selling online, you can say, okay, I'm selling you a premium package, which includes these items. Now you're actually upselling to the customer without actually your sales rep having to bring it up in the home. I know when I was a sales rep, there was nothing worse than having to go in the house and say, okay, you're sold on this cheap package. Now, let me talk to you about these more expensive packages, right? It was always terrifying because you had them locked in the cheaper package. But now, if the consumer is browsing and doing their own educational research on their own, and you're showing them the packages, we're hearing from our contractors that the homeowner is actually asking about these premium packages more often because they've been displayed online. So now they're actually upselling these packages much more often, and they're also upselling other products much more often to where now they have a higher margin within their products as well.
Interesting. So it sounds like as you focus your efforts on increasing the margins of your customers, you end up being able to increase your own margins too.
Yes. Another place where now the contractor can save is that every contractor loves or hates, right, the tire kickers, right? The ones that are like, just send somebody out, and you have to drive an hour and a half, 2 hours, wasting gas, maintenance on your cars, whatever that it is. And you go out there and they say, I was just seeing what it was going to cost. It's way more than I expected, right? Well, now you can use this technology to where they can go out there and say, okay, I can understand it's going to cost me 20,000. I thought it was 5. Don't waste your time right now coming out because we're not even in the same ballpark. You can save that time. Well, now you're being more efficient with your employees' time to where now you're actually going out to homes to where they're almost pre-qualified, to where now you're saving so much time. And I can't even give you a dollar amount or a gross margin on time, right? Something that we can never get back again, right? To where we're saving that time for that contractor, but then also making it more efficient as well, towards saving money more on their bottom line as well.
And with all these different services and things you're providing for the customer, it's obvious that you know, a lot of businesses would benefit from this. But how do you get that word out? How do you find these new companies? How do you find people to work with that would benefit from it?
Yeah, so we go to a lot of events. So last year we went to 64 events as a
Mm.
company. So we went to a lot of events. People are like, "Well, I didn't know there was that many events." Well, if yeah, I mean, if you're looking for them, you can find them. They do exist. Now everyone knows about the popular ones that exist out there. Probably the main five or six, that exist that are the big ones. But there's other ones to where, maybe 100 or two contractors might show up. But to us, that's value, right? We're getting in front of these contractors that maybe don't go to the bigger events. So we go to a lot of events, where we go there. Usually we'll be, on stage or educating contractors at these events, talking about what we do and how it can change their business. And then we do a lot of online marketing as well. So getting in front of people, the online way. And then we also formed 26 formal partnerships in the space. So these partnerships are big for us. These partnerships are ultimately almost reselling our product for us, because we have a formal partnership with them. They talk about the benefits of this partnership that we have, how it can improve their business. So last I checked, we had 12 different sources that we've been able to attach, different sales to out there that we were able to contribute to say, this is kind of our, our different marketing approaches, that we're using to be able to get in front of new opportunities and new contractors. And we continue to hear it every day. I've never heard of your company. I never heard of your product before. And so even if we felt like we've seen everybody, we've been to every single one of them, there's always still the next one to go to where we will meet somebody who's never actually heard of us or seen what we do before.
It sounds like you have a lot of lines in the water in terms of marketing. What's, you know, maybe the strangest one or the most unique one you've tried recently?
Um, yeah, I think some of these recently getting into some of these social ones online, like we dabbled in some of the next door stuff. We dabbled into some of the Reddit stuff, some of those forums and things like that we've gotten into that have been fairly successful. Yeah, it's a lot more groundwork. It's not just simply kind of just a pay to play. Throw money at it and get out there. You have to actually kind of dig into some of these things to try to get out there. But we're kind of getting into that phase now to where if you think about kind of Auto Trader, right? When Auto Trader first came out, they had to get in front of the auto dealers, right? They had to get dealers on the platform and then eventually go out to the consumer and say, hey, did you know that this is a thing? Did you know that this was an option? It's kind of the same approach that we look at, right? We have thousands of contractors that are using our technology today. And so now we're kind of getting into kind of that phase to where we're almost kind of like, not only are we going after contractors, but kind of by mistake, we're landing ourselves in front of homeowners as well to letting them know and inform them that, this is actually something that you can actually do.
Yeah. Um, so with you, I mean, your company's growing like crazy. You're, every year you said it was 100 and over 100% growth for the last couple of years, right? With that, what's your long-term vision with the company? I mean, you guys are growing like a wildfire. What's the end game here? What are you looking forward to?
Yeah, I mean, we want to be the ultimate top of funnel, lead generation tool for the entire construction industry, right? Is our goal, right? We want to, be be the solution, that's out there to allow consumers to be able to use our technology, to be able to understand what our construction projects are going to be, right? So we continue to grow and we will always continue to grow, year over year. But, our mindset is to continue to change and revolutionize not only the roofing industry where we are now, but even in the other industries, that our software now has been tested to use in. We've put a bunch into testing, R&D into other spaces that we foresee ourselves going into here in the very very near future, to where we look to be in really all the construction spaces that are out there. So we'll just continue to grow and continue to expand on what our technology can do until eventually who knows, maybe robots or whatever else that come into play and take over. Hopefully that's long after my lifetime, but that's where we intend to go over the years to come.
I'm sure the R&D has been an interesting journey and things like that. Has there been any other, big restrictors or things that you see would come in the way of continuing that rapid growth and expanding into other markets?
I mean, with the R&D that we've done and been able to, to be able to uncover what we're I think it only helps us at this point because the more things that we have available to us through technology and we're able to capitalize on them to be able to use it in the right way. Because again, everybody on our team, that works with it is from the contracting space. So they understand how to apply, technology and software and be able to smash all these things together to be able to have an outcome that really speaks to the contractor themselves, to where we feel like we have the advantage over anything else out there by being able to have, this power, and mostly there's brain power of just having the experience in the trades to know, like, here's, A plus B equals C, which really the end result we want here is C, to be able to smash all these things together, right? And I think that's where we have the advantage over anything else. And maybe eventually AI or whatever might be able to take that over. But for now, we know that we have some of the smartest minds, out there in the construction space working with us to be able to develop, this piece of software that, we hope nothing will be able to beat us to the punch.
There you go. It definitely sounds like you got the edge on things. You're going in the right direction. I want to thank you for being able to share with these things with us today. Really interesting to hear about the company and the services that you're creating. Kind of to before we end, narrowing a little bit more back on you. As a leader within your company, within the space, what are things that you've been working on personally? What are things that your own personal goals?
Yeah, so I always want to become a better leader. With being, where I'm in a position is I always want to be personally, making myself the best that I can possibly be, and always, learning to have, be a better leader. And I have a few mentors in my life that I work with, just even some in professionally and some even, personally as well, because I believe, you have to be able to be the best person personally, then you to be able to flow into your professional life is a big part of it. And so being able to work on those things, because when I first came into software is I always wanted to keep everything under my control, right? I always wanted to control everything or have, some sort of outcome in it. And I've been learning, been able to release that control, right? And delegate, to others. And I'm big on, delegations, working on all those things to be able to trust in the employees, that we have and the people that we have on board to be able to make those calls and decisions, I think is really what, what creates, a better leader. I've seen too many companies be, kind of, strangled, or suffocated by some of the leadership at the top by not allowing some of the employees to be able to go out and to try those things. And I think that everybody here that's on my team, really appreciates, the fact that I've been able to, adjust and adapt to that, to be able to allow them to go out there and do the best that they can. Because I brought them on for a reason, right? They come onto the team for a reason, and I want to allow them to go be themselves. I want to allow them to go out there and do those things and empower those things. And they're going to make mistakes. I promise you, they're going to make mistakes. But that's where, I think I'm at my best, is to be able to help them through that mistake that they made and help them learn from that mistake. So hopefully they don't make it again, but at least make it a learning lesson that they've learned, that they learned them, and then they can improve, on from there.
There you go. Well, it sounds like you guys would be just an amazing company to work with in your structure, given your growth, the things that are going to come in the future. For those listening, watching this, what would be the best way to get in contact with your company? Just going to the website. How do you guys process that?
Yeah, so best way is roofle.com. So go to our website. From there, you can actually test the technology for yourself. So you can actually go on there. We actually keep it open so that you can go there and test it. So throw on your address, right? Give it a try, and see how it would work on your property. But then also you can, see testimonials. They're in there from a lot of our countries that are using it. Then you can also book a demo with one of our consultants that would meet with you and discuss if this is something that would work well with your business. So go to our website, check it out from there, and then from there you will start your venture into the price transparency way of things that we like to look at the industry going.
Well, there we go. Well, thank you, Travis, for your time and for your comments and all you shared. Everyone, be sure to go check out the website, see what they have to offer, and see how it runs. Thank you, everyone, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks, everybody.